recording and live.
Okay. Everybody, we'll be starting the meeting in just a moment. We're just allowing a minute or so for a few people to join the call. Oh yeah, there's Chris. You see him, Caitlin?
I do. I just migrated him over.
Yep. So Chris Sautel, that's you I'm talking to. Can you hear me? I was calling Chris. Oh, you're muted, Chris.
Hi.
Yeah, hi. There you go. Hey, Chris, there's a unique URL that we'll have to get you. Andy Port submits it through the Zoom whatever, and so I'm not sure if it shows up in your email as coming from Zoom or Andy Port or whatever, but we'll have to do that so that you can go join right in as a panelist in future.
Okay.
Okay, so we're all here. I don't see and the auditorium is packed with 0 attendees. So let's get started with roll call here. So we have Andrew Bernhardt, right?
Here.
Okay, Biff Baus.
Here.
I don't see Mr. Sandrone, do you? Okay, I'll skip him for now. Christopher Fay, so are you?
I'm here.
Yep, I heard you, Chris. Thank you. Joe Morgan.
Here.
Okay, and Chris Sautel, we heard you a second ago. Right.
Yeah, here.
Okay, where's your mantle with all the mugs? You're in a different location.
Yeah, it's better reception. One about a foot away from the where I was sitting before. It's much better reception.
Okay, well, that's perfectly permissible. One second here. Okay, so let's get started. Oh, Caitlin Sullivan running the meeting and Gretchen Joy taking notes. So I'm going to skip a lot of the rigmarole about public comment because I don't think we're going to have one. So let's move right into tonight's business. Let's see if we can zip right along and get out of here in time for doing whatever else it is we want to do with our lives this evening. As you hopefully have seen, the advisory report that I drafted, I think I sent it out to you guys Tuesday. If you have seen it, you know that it's brief. It's not elaborate, but I got the sense from listening to you guys 2 weeks ago that that the addition that they were planning, although it was a fairly substantial addition to that structure, the structure was so small to begin with that it was kind of understandable why they needed a pretty sizable addition. And we felt that the design, worked pretty well with the existing structure. It didn't wreck it, didn't ruin it. I think Joe made an interesting comment about how because of the way they had that L perpendicular, it kind of kept a bit of a feel. It kind of hid the fact that they were extending the original structure so far to the rear, and kind of kept some of that feel. And I know a lot of us felt that we might otherwise be in a situation where it would be a total tear down. Mr. Fay, what are you doing? I think I just see your big toe. Anyway, moving right along. So did anyone have any corrections, changes, or anything like to make? I can call it up and do it on the fly, or we can just say, no, it's fine just the way it is, and we can change it from draft to final and send it off. So what do you guys think? I don't think I really need to call on each one of you for an opinion, right? Joe has unmuted himself. Speak.
Yeah, because I knew you were going to call me first.
No, not necessarily.
No, I'm just kidding. No, I thought it was fine. I told you so. I read it and I thought it was short, but I think you hit the main points.
Yeah.
I mean, in this situation, we're just being asked for an opinion,
right?
And I don't think I was actually surprised that there wasn't more discussion about the appropriateness of altering such a small structure, but that didn't seem to be what most people were concerned with. That clearly it was already a fait accompli, and it's just a question of what is historical. How could you talk of preservation for such a a project, you know, and I think the scale, the street frontage, the scale of that was preserved, and I think that's the best we could hope for in that situation. So.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the way I would kind of rephrase what you just said or kind of summarize it in my own way would be that given the situation that lay in front of us, what they were proposing, A, seemed reasonable, and B, didn't do anything that was going to have some really adverse impact on the historical values there. There was, as you all noted, there was very little in the way of architectural interest or detail. The most, to me, the most characteristic part of it was just the overall proportion and the size and all that. It was kind of symbolic, as I put in the report, you know, kind of a reminder of that, you know, not every house in Newburyport was or is or should be a mansion. You know, there were plenty of small, you know, modest homes that were occupied by people of limited means who, and they might have been tradespeople, they might have worked. There were a lot of factories back in the day in that part of town. So, well, I don't know if a lot, but there were several anyway. So anyway, yeah, okay, so good. It sounds like you felt that I captured the sense of the board. Anyone else want to have a comment? If no one does, you know, it wouldn't be out of order to make a motion. You could either you can make a motion to approve the report as written, or if you have an amendment or something, you can specify what that might be.
Yeah, I think I'd be comfortable to make a motion that we approve the draft as is.
Okay, that was
I'll
Mr.
second
Bowles.
that.
Okay, that was Joe, right?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so let me make a slight adjustment here. So the motion is to approve the report as written. So a yes vote means we'll send it off to the Zoning Board of Appeals. I think I explained last week the way this works. Because of the amount of demolition they need to do to the house, it's over 25% of exterior walls. So they need a special permit because of the DCOD ordinance. So the Zoning Board of Appeals is the body that grants those permits in this case. Okay, so that's the motion. Mr. Bernhardt, your vote, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Baus, your vote.
Aye.
Okay. Mr. Sandrone, I'm going to assume is not here, so I'll take him off the roll. Christopher Fay.
I would abstain. I wasn't here last time.
Oh,
so.
that's right. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Chris, for reminding me of that. I already adjusted the roll call for the last meeting's minutes, but I forgot about this one. Okay. Joe Morgan.
Yes.
Okay. Chris Sautel.
Yes.
1, 2. So that's already 4 affirmative votes, and the chair will pat himself on the back for his great work and say yes. So the motion passes. So we will, so Caitlin, I'll send you a version without the draft on it, and that can go off to whoever it needs to go off to. Okay.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, I can probably do that tonight because that's a real quick change. So we'll move right along. General business. I do have a couple of updates, but they're all brief. First of all, a big thank you for those of you, and there were several of you who showed up for that boards and commissions info session. It was Biff who brought some show and tell. Thank you very much, Biff. There was Andrew, and that was Andrew Bernhardt, that is, and Chris Sautel. And we got to meet Alan Marquis, who is Marquis spelled Marquis. He says he does pronounce it a la the French way, Marquis. He is a new applicant who would be an alternate if and when he finally gets through the process. And on a side note, you might recall that last meeting, Chris Sautel, actually not Chris Sautel. Oh yeah, it was Chris Sautel. Sorry. I think it was, yes, it was Chris. Had some questions about Zoom meetings and so on. I think it started out discussing how come we don't see the video of the presenters and so on. Anyway, I took the opportunity at that session of buttonholing just about every public official I could find, right up to the mayor, to encourage them to get the technology sorted out about these so-called hybrid meetings. That's where you meet in person in an technologically equipped room at City Hall, usually, although I think the senior center is possibly a venue. And it's sorry, I keep getting hiccups. It's possible optionally for people to participate via Zoom, but you know, the commissioners and so forth are there in person as well as the applicants. So that's a hybrid meeting. So the one guy who seems most in the know about the whole thing seemed skeptical that they would get it all resolved before sometime early next year, which I thought was pretty pathetic, but what do I know? So anyway, so I haven't forgotten about that. There's some preservation restriction work ongoing. Just a couple quick updates on that. The one for the Cushing House, I've been in touch with their director, and she's got a real boon. She's got, I'm not sure if it's an intern or an architecture student or something like that, is going to go through and document the interior moldings that we want to protect, like dimension drawings of all the, you know, the molding profiles and all that stuff that we want to make sure are protected in their preservation restriction as part of the baseline documentation. So that's going to be happening over the next few weeks. And secondly, on the old jail property, I had a very productive meeting. Let's see, yesterday with Chuck Griffin and his lawyer, and we made excellent progress. They're updating some things that you know, either some of them were minor errors and some were, you know, things that we had to kind of thrash through to try to come up with something that both sides could agree to. But that work is ongoing, and then the attorney felt that he should be able to have those changes all done in just a couple of days. And then the next step will be to have Andy Port review it. And I think he wanted the city solicitor to just take a look at it, see if he had any concerns. And then you guys all will have a chance to look it over. I know a lot of you weren't even on the board. This saga goes back to 2019. So we'll have to do a little kind of background on why it took so long and everything else. But anyway, it's actually, I think we're finally going to get it done. So I'm very, very happy about that. And finally, there's a possibility I might not be able to make the next meeting in 2 weeks. I don't know yet, but if that were the case, right now there's just like one, what'd you say, Caitlin, was a demo delay hearing on that?
That's right. Yep.
If someone is willing to volunteer to run the meeting, that would be great. And what I can do is give you my cheat sheet of notes that I use to, you know, stay on track and, you know, cover everything appropriately and all that good stuff. So,
Glenn, I can cover that.
okay. All right. Well, that's good to know. So I'll let you know, Joe, as soon as I find out if it's, you know, going to be an issue or not. Okay.
Sure. No
lastly, well, not almost next to lastly, is the approval of minutes from the 27th of April. So Chris, we'll leave you out of this one. Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
Move to approve.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Morgan. Is that seconded?
I'll
I will
second that.
second it, Andrew.
Okay, I think I heard Biff first and then Andrew. But was it you, Biff?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah. And I heard Andrew too, but I got you first. Okay, Andrew, your vote?
Yes.
Okay. Biff?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Sandrone is not here. Mr. Fay wasn't here 2 weeks ago. Joe Morgan?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Sawtell?
Yes.
And the chair is okay. Yes. So Gretchen, you may proceed with those. By the way, I forgot to mention at that info session, Mr. Sawtell showed up looking very much the part with his vest and his watch fob on display. It was excellent. So at this point, there could be anyone can either ask a question, make a comment, or make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I have one thing I'd like to make a motion on, actually.
Okay, that sounded like Mr. Biff.
That is me.
Okay.
I know, actually, interesting timing that you're mentioning that you might be out. I know that we've been out since I've been on the board. We've been without a vice chair role, and it's something that I was interested in when we first talked about, but wasn't sure just because I was so new. But I do think that my my knowledge of this, I'm at a point where I would be comfortable doing that. And I
Oh.
would like to make a motion to elect me as the vice chair.
Okay. That motion is accepted. Is there a second for that?
Second, that's Chris Sawtelle.
Chris Sawtelle. Okay, hang on a second.
Yeah.
So that was Biff and Chris Sawtelle. Well, first of all, let me say thank you. I really appreciate that. And I will say that I don't disagree with your assessment, A, and I'll also say that the main thing the vice chair does really is step in when the chair isn't there to run the meeting. So so if this vote passes, Joe, you may, and I still can't show up in 2 weeks, you might be off the hook anyway. Okay,
I
so
will happily yield.
you're not going to go fighting it tooth and nail. Okay, so let's vote on that. Well, anyone have other comment before we vote on it? Okay, if then the vote would be a yes vote is to accept Mr. Biff Baus as vice chair, which would be fine with me. Well, I guess I shouldn't opinionate like that. And a no vote would reject that motion. So Andrew Bernhardt, your vote.
Yep, yes.
Okay. Biff, I suppose it's awkward you voting for yourself, but after all, you made the motion, so
Yeah.
I'm going to put you down for a yes.
I'll say aye. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Chris.
Yes.
Okay. Hang on a second here. I got to fix one thing. Okay. Thank you, Joe Morgan.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Sawtelle.
Yes.
The chair is yes. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wow, 6 yeses. Biff, you we can put you on the webpage
Excellent.
as the vice chair.
Thank you very
Caitlin,
much.
is that something you and Diane can take care of?
Yes, we will. Thank you.
Okay, so what I'll do then, Biff, is once I know what's going on with me personally in 2 weeks, I'll, we can get together, maybe we can even, have a coffee or something, or what,
Sure.
we'll do something, a little informal Zoom meeting. We'll figure something out, and I can go over with you, how I do it anyway. Of course, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to do it exactly the way I do it.
Well, I'm
but
here to shake things up, so watch out.
Okay. Fasten your seatbelts, right? Thank you very much, Biff. All seriousness.
Thank you.
Does anyone care to make a motion to adjourn?
I can make that motion to adjourn.
Okay. Is there a second?
I could second Andrew.
Okay. Thank you, Andrew Bernhardt. Okay. Mr. Bernhardt, your vote.
Yes.
Mr. Baus.
Yes.
Mr. Fay.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Morgan.
Yes.
Mr. Sawtelle.
Yes.
And the chair does not object. So it's unanimous. We are officially adjourned, and look at that. It's not even 7:30. So Mr. Mark Syndrome will be just eating his heart out. He missed such a short meeting. So thank you all very much, especially you, Biff, for stepping forward. You've been a great participant already, and so I look forward to working with you. And if I think of anything that you should know as vice chair, you'll be the first to know.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you all for your support. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Biff.
Okay. Good night, everybody.
Good night,
Good night.
everybody.
Good night.